Hi YouTube, I was in a Japanese hospital for 44 days. This is my story. So, long story short, I was snowboarding, having a great time, and I slammed leg first into a tree. I wasn't sure if it was broken at the time, but after I saw my legs swinging around loosely,
I broke my leg!
I knew. It was time to call an ambulance. Kyukyusha. Ambulance. I get taken down the mountain on a sled, put in an ambulance, and they took me to a local hospital. 病院. Hospital. I'm wheeled into the hospital and I see my doctor. 整形外科. Orthopedic surgery. I knew the doctor already from previous visits translating for other people, but this was my first time as his patient. Kanja. Patient. I'm taken into a room to get x-rays. Rentogen. X-ray. They lay me flat on the glass table and they put my foot down. Now at this point my adrenaline had worn off long ago, and now my leg was hurting like a motherfucker. Itai. Hurts. Itami. Pain. In Japan, emergency personnel don't administer painkillers on site, which I've heard is not normal and also a little inhumane. Itami dome. Painkillers. Anyways, I get my x-rays, and as they're showing up on the screen in the other room, I can hear my doctor going, ah. So I know it's bad. He says, congratulations, you will be staying in the hospital tonight. 入院. Hospitalization. I was diagnosed with a comminuted fracture, also known as I shattered my shin bones. 粉砕骨折. Comminuted fracture. First, they secured my floppy leg with a splint. Shine. Splint. Then I was wheeled upstairs to my room that I shared with 5 other patients. 病棟. Hospital ward. They moved me from the stretcher to a bed, and in that bed I would stay for the next 10 days. With my legs so unstable, I couldn't get out of bed for anything. And I mean anything. Netakiri. Bedridden. I couldn't even go to use the bathroom, so naturally I had to use other methods. Omutsu. Diaper. Nyoki. Urinal bottle. I don't know how many of you have pooped in a bed, but it's not easy. Anyways, I needed to call the nurses to pretty much do everything for me. Kangoshi. Nurse. Luckily, they were all extremely nice and helpful people. I was also lucky enough to have numerous friends come and visit me in the hospital. Omimai. Hospital visit. Of course, they can only come during designated visiting hours, so you should check that first. Menkai jikan. Visitation hours. For the next week, I laid in bed hooked up to an IV waiting for my operation. Tenteki. IV. I also occasionally had blood drawn for blood tests. Saiketsu. Drawing blood. I needed to wait a week for the swelling in my leg to subside. Hare. Swelling. Every day, the nurses would check the pulse in my foot to make sure that it was still getting blood circulation. Shinpaku. Pulse. And they would also make sure I wasn't losing any feeling in my foot to make sure the nerves weren't damaged. Shinkei. Nerve. After a torturous week of being unable to move, it was finally time for my surgery. Shujutsu. Surgery. They wheeled me to the operating table and injected some anesthetic into my lower spine, numbing my entire lower body. Masui. Anesthetic. After everything was numb, they stuck a catheter in me and started disinfecting everything. Shodoku. Disinfection. 2 hours or so later, the surgery was finished and I had a titanium bar and 8 screws in my leg. As the anesthetic wore off, the suffering began. I started feeling like I needed to throw up. Hakike. Nausea. Then my legs started hurting real bad. Not to mention I still had a catheter sticking out my pee-pee hole. Kuda. Catheter. First I was just taking painkiller pills. You know, the weak stuff. Nomigusuri. Oral medication. I needed something stronger, so they give me an injection. Chusha. Injection. And that still wasn't enough. I begged for something stronger, and they told me the strongest stuff would have to go up my zayaku suppository. Hey, that stuff works. Woo! Anyways, after a few days of recovery, I was finally given a wheelchair and allowed to move around the hospital as I pleased. 車椅子 wheelchair. I also started rehabilitation to get mobility back in my joints and muscles. Rehabilitation. This is me training to use crutches. 松葉杖 crutches. 1 week later, I had my surgical staples removed, which was actually kinda gross. ホチキス staples. In my case, I did not get a cast. ギプス cast. Instead, I was fitted for a specialized brace called a PTB. They actually had to make it twice because the swelling of my leg changed the shape so much. That's why I was in the hospital for so long. 装具 brace. They also started me on ultrasonic treatments called lipase to speed up bone growth. 超音波 ultrasound. After a month and a half in the hospital, I was discharged. 退院 discharged from hospital.
Yay!
I still need to go to the hospital for regular checkups to check on bone growth. But I'm doing well and I'm back to normal life. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this was helpful or interesting for those of you hospitalized in Japan or just learning Japanese. I'll make another video later about dealing with medical expenses, insurance, and things like that. So stay tuned for that. じゃあねー.